Welcome to Africa Media Australia. My name is Clyde Salou Mushrati, and today I have a guest in the studio. I'll just ask him to introduce himself.
Yeah, my name is Wisdom Mupudzi, and good to be here.
All right, Wisdom, how are you?
I'm very good.
It's been a little while since we last had a bit of a chat.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I think we last met at breakfast.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Well, we're very happy to see you come to Africa Media Australia. All right, introduce yourself a bit. Give us a bit more details about yourself so people would know when you came to Australia, how long you've been here, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, sure. I came here about 8 years ago, and when at the time I came, I was just coming from Zimbabwe, which is the country that I was born.
Yeah.
And I think from the time I was very young, I've always wanted to travel, and I think I came to a point where I felt like Australia was going to be the place I'm going to come to. So an opportunity came, and then I came to study, finished my studies, got my residency, and then from there, just began to work for a few different conglomerates, and then from there, but I always had this passion to research on relationships and everything else. So I think out of that passion, one time we were having dinner with friends, and one of my friends, I don't know what I said, and one of the friends said, "No, you need to write a book." So after that, I just thought, okay, you know what? I think I should do it. And then from there, I released my first book, which is Uncommon Destiny, Uncommon Partner. And now that book actually got me an award. So I'm now an award-winning author. I got a silver award.
Wow.
Yes, that was run by the Jenkins Group. They're very big in America. They're based in Michigan.
Yeah.
So they've been running these awards for the last 16 years. So it was just been amazing experience for me to really just realize that. Because when I was doing all the research and everything, it was just out of passion. And then eventually it culminated into a book. Now I'm on my fourth book now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just, it's been a journey that's been incredible. And I think even my experiences from university, from Zimbabwe, they all sort of came together to the point where you can actually see how every experience I've been in life contributed to.
Absolutely. We'll talk a bit more about some of your books and everything you're doing in a moment. Getting back to your experience in Australia, what are some of the best things you like as an African migrant to Australia? What are some of the things you like and some of the things you find challenging?
Yeah. I think one of the very important things that I really felt when I came to Australia was the fact that Australia is very multicultural. And I think sometimes it's a case of being able to adapt to the environment and to the culture within Australia, but at the same time, not losing your own identity, I think. Because when people do that, you bring something and you experience other cultures. You got people from Brazil, people from Latin America, you got Australians, you got people from everywhere, really. But I think that element of realizing that Australia is a very multicultural society, that's really sort of, it gives everybody a very good opportunity to be able to mix and mingle, learn what other people are doing, and also review also as well, the other aspects of your own cultures as well. So that's was really a very important thing for me to discover. And then naturally, I managed to just get involved with, met a few people and met a lot of people as well. And so, yeah.
All right. And anything challenging?
I think one of the biggest challenges, I think, that I've discovered is sometimes there's an issue of perception. Because you'd find that a lot of people, when they come from Africa, they'll come here and sometimes they get into these beliefs. And sometimes some of those beliefs, you really have to assess them, like where they're coming from. For example, you find that a lot of students who come from Africa, I mean, when they come to Australia, sometimes they can find it very hard to get into professional circles, professional jobs, like jobs of their own qualifications.
Yes.
But sometimes when you really look at it, you can actually realize sometimes it has to start off with the idea of the people who maybe came in first maybe couldn't do it. So when these people come in, they are told straight away that I know
it's very hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
So sometimes then that becomes the biggest hurdle by itself.
Yes.
Because I was telling a few people the other time that I've had friends who come in here straight from the blue, get big roles, PhD, but no residence, no nothing. But just because someone just took steps of faith, steps of action, and so I think in that point there's that element of course assessing in terms of what's on the ground just before someone just believes these negative mindsets. You gotta say, okay, fine, let me do my homework first, and then have my experience and see how can I leverage with the network that I have and that kind of thing. Yeah,
I sort of agree with what you're saying because I think some of the issues that many of the Africans that came, sort of the first generations of Africans, may not always be quite savvy on networking and all that sort of thing. Because getting a good job is not just about what you know; it's about who you know. It's always been connect with the right people who will tell you when there are job opportunities, or introduce you to people who know where jobs are, and people who came earlier didn't have that. But new people with all the knowledge, we have got Google now that can tell you almost everything you want to know. With all the sophistication that is going around and the connection with electronic devices, a little bit more savvy on that, and therefore the opportunities are there for people who really want to go for it rather than have a negative mindset to be able to move forward. Do you agree with that?
Yes, definitely I do.
All right. Now, let's talk about Wisdom Unlimited, you call it. All right. Tell us about more about that.
Okay. Now, Wisdom Unlimited International, it's a name that I just it took me a few days to really find a name for this project, and I think at the time I was looking for a name that would kind of really have my own identity come through in terms of my beliefs and everything. And I think after a few days of just trying to find out, and then I asked a few people about it, just when I came with Wisdom Unlimited International, they felt like, yeah, this is it. And I knew in my spirit that, well, you know what, this is it. But I think it just came from the point of, okay, my name is Wisdom, and I believe in God, and I know that God is unlimited. And when it comes to the wisdom of God, really, there's no end. Because God in everything, in resources, in everything, God is unlimited.
Yeah.
So from that point, it just goes like, wisdom unlimited. And then, of course, my passion being international, looking at the world as, as a level playing field where we can be able to travel to any part of the world and do business. I just felt like, let me just put from the very beginning that I want to be international. So that became Wisdom Unlimited International.
Oh, that's good. And what exactly do you do? Obviously, you mentioned you're a writer. You've written 4 books. Is it mostly about the books that you write, or is there anything else that is part of that whole enterprise, sort of that whole endeavor?
Okay, there's the books. That's one aspect of it, which is really quite big, and then there are other main other 3 streams as well. 3 streams that I look at, which is basically area of consulting, in terms of call centers, and then also find my way within the education system as well, and then also trying to help those who have been in a position where they've been out of employment for a long time, and because I look in that area in terms of helping someone get their identity back. Because a lot of people sometimes, when they've been out of unemployment when they've been sort of in a state of unemployment for a very long time, they tend to lose their identity. So sometimes they fail to realize that they do have options.
Yes.
So it's that element of just coming on and on board, and then be able to work out a framework and coming up with packages that can actually be able to work with the current stakeholders, and from there. But I think for me, what has happened is because I've had seasons where I can look at myself in every quarter that I can decide, okay, this is what I want to focus on now, and then work from there. So now the last quarter, I'm going to release my last book, but then I'm going to be focusing more on the other 2 areas of this project, basically mainly call centers, and then also empowering within the education system as well.
Okay. So yes, if I understand, there's the books you're writing, the consulting in call center areas, as well as helping people mainly with getting jobs, stuff like that. All right. And how is obviously the books is good, doing well because you got 4 books. It's not easy. I haven't published any books.
That's all right.
I'm kind of intimidated a little bit.
So good.
But then these are the 2 areas that you trying to focus more to develop them better, or have you already started in those 2 areas?
Yeah, these ones I've already started, and actually having talks going on right now and negotiations going on, because I think when I came to the market, I had to realize in terms of how the market is structured, and then from there deciding how I can position myself. So I think initially when I came on board, I was like, there's that element of like, you know what, I'm just starting, so maybe I'm just focused on the low end. But then I looked at my experience and everything else. I felt like, okay, fine. So now I'm going to position myself on the very top end of the market. So that means I'm looking at the major conglomerates that really deal with call centers at high level, and then be able to offer strategic leadership. Because when I worked within the call center industry, one of the things I discovered was that there's a lot of lack of strategic leadership, particularly when it comes to medium management and everything like that. And I've also realized that a lot of the people that are called team leaders, a lot of them, they don't have that maybe a good combination of within the business skills from maybe university and from the proper business skills. And then some of them just do have the sort of experience that they've just been, call center for 2-3 years, that kind of thing, and then become a team leader. But in terms of the true leadership skills, they don't have. So whereas for me, I always have the opportunity because I've gone to university, RMIT and everything. So that's really solidified my business skills.
That's
so
good.
Yes.
What course did you do?
I did business. Yeah, major in accounting.
Okay, that's good. All right, and what's your reading of how Africans in general or African Australians are faring in Australia? Do you think they're doing well or not so well, or do you have any view on that?
I think when you look at African Australians, I think what has happened over the last few years, I've noticed that there's a new generation that is sort of come in who are very, you'd find that across, I think sometimes it can differ with regions, but I think, or to be on the general scale, I think a lot of Africans, they do have a desire of wanting to be the best they can be, and I think a lot of them, they really know what they want to do, and I think with a bit of guidance, they can eventually fulfill every dream that they have. So I think it's a case of, but generally speaking, I think a lot of Africans who came or are in Australia at the moment, they seem to be in the right direction.
Okay, all right. Do you think there's enough support from institutional sources to be able to assist these communities as they develop themselves within Australia?
Yeah, I think with looking from where my research in other places, I think I've seen a lot of those methodologies and maybe procedures in place that when guys maybe come from Sudan or these places, some of them within a good few months, they're able to get accommodated in. And I think if we really look at it in terms of that perspective of how much support they get, I think it has been Australia has been very welcome. But I think, of course, inside, having said that, you'd find that there could be other people as well who felt that they didn't really get the support,
sufficient support in that.
Yeah, they needed. Yes, but if you really look at it from the macro perspective of saying, okay, fine, here's a country that I said, okay, guys, we understand where you're coming from, but we can help you get a better life. Then from that way, I think one is to come from the place of gratitude. It's okay, fine, you know what, this is what we've done, but maybe we might need to fix a few issues in there. So yeah,
absolutely. All right, and let's talk a little bit about your community, the Zimbabweans.
Yeah.
Are there many Zimbabweans here?
Yeah, we do. We do have actually a lot of Zimbabweans, and I think for me, I found it very interesting because I've noticed that some of the guys who came from Zimbabwe, even some of them who came many years ago, you'd find that if you move it within the major conglomerates, be it PricewaterhouseCoopers, BHP, you bump into them, and it's very interesting when you look at that because Zimbabwe, basically from the perspective of what has gone out, through the major cable networks and stuff, it has been very negative. And I remember telling you guys when I came here, I said, do you know that in Zimbabweans we do have multi-millionaires? Yes. Not in some other funny countries, but in US dollars. Some of them are in Zimbabwe, they're next door in South Africa. Yes. Some of them are everywhere. Yes. So it just sort of gives me that that excitement that, in Zimbabwe it might be been going through some things, but at least I know that there's a willpower in Zimbabwe. And I think at a time in the future, people start coming back when the playful is a bit okay, where people can feel that, I think I'm ready to go home and invest and start projects and thereby, seeing things. But I think I'm really been very encouraged by what I've seen over the years. So, yeah.
And is there a sense of community in the Zimbabwe, from Zimbabweans here? Because I think because many of them are in pretty high-flying jobs and stuff like that, they don't need to seem to have that sense of community compared to other, groups of migrants such as the Sudanese or whatever, because they may have been coming from a different sort of experience. Is that your understanding? Is everyone is kind of doing their own business?
It's interesting you say that because I think for me, I did experience that because I think a few years I met a few people who said, did you know any Zimbabwean community? Yeah. And even up to now, I still haven't had those saying, look guys, this is what we have as a community of Zimbabweans. I haven't met that before. But I find all these other guys, Sudanese, and everyone is doing it. But for the Zimbabwean side, well, if there is someone, please send me an email, let me know.
Well, I'll tell you there is, because I actually interviewed a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed the president of the Zimbabwean community in Victoria, along with a member of the executive team. Yeah. So I'll give you details.
That'll be good.
So you can go and have a chat with them.
Yeah.
All right. Any message to other fellow African Australians and to the society in general? Because you're an international kind of guy. Any message that you have today? And we would obviously want to get you back to talk more about some of your books, because I think it's important to showcase some of these wonderful things that are happening in our communities, and people like yourself are really doing these beautiful things. But what message have you got today to the rest of people who are going to be watching us on AMA?
Yeah, I think what I would say, my message to all the Africans would be just remember maybe how tough it was, wherever you came from, and what you thought in mind if you're going to come to Australia, what was it that you wanted to do. And now that you're here, maybe you might have faced a few problems here, but don't give up. Persevere. Use your networks, whoever you can talk to, Australians, whatever we can talk to as your support base, and we can give. Sometimes when you talk about support, it's not even about material stuff. Maybe it's just one idea that'll game change things. I love to use this word, the game changer.
Yes.
So that could be one insight that you might find. So just don't give up. Persevere. Keep knocking on those doors until something happens. Yeah.
All right, Wisdom, I wish we would have more time to even talk more, because I enjoy talking with you, but I'm sure it's not the last time. We will see you again here. Like I said, we would be happy to talk about some of your books and everything else you are doing. We really appreciate your time to AMA, and thanks very much.
Yeah, and thanks so much for the time and the opportunity. And I must say that congratulations on this MAA thing. And this is a big project. And I was coming here, I just think about in my head. When I look at it, I just see this thing going big. You never know with the TV networks. Something might happen.
All right.
We'll talk to you later.
Thanks very much.